going to build a future. We're building the future for you guys right here. Oh my God, this is why I'm in this, actually, right there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Maple Blooded Podcast. Our Make-A-Wish Prime Minister Mark Carney has quite a history of embellishment, while piling up a stunning lack of accomplishments as leader of Canada. I'm going to provide a thorough takedown of his career. You're going to want to listen until the end of this video because you'll be shocked and entertained. And while you're here, please take a few seconds to subscribe to my channel and click on the like button of this video. My goal right now is to try and reach 500 subscribers. You would think that Mark Carney was the Forrest Gump of geopolitics, but I would suggest he's more like Baron Munchausen. Since the day Mark Carney announced his Liberal leadership intentions, he has made a point to tell Canadians he is a hockey player from the Northwest Territories. What you just saw there was Mark Carney missing a wide open net in an Edmonton Oilers practice. Is that what he means when he says net zero? To be fair, Mark Carney was a goalie, I guess, but he only played one game with the Harvard Crimson over 2 seasons. Total time on ice? 10 minutes according to EliteProspects.com. When Mark Carney met with auto part workers at Martin Rian in Vaughan, Ontario, they played AC/DC's Thunderstruck over the PA system, which is something they do for every politician who visits. But Mark Carney made a point to tell them that was his warm-up tune when he played minor hockey. Really? Because Mark Carney would have been 25 years old when AC/DC's The Razor's Edge was released in 1990. Now, EliteProspects.com does have a record of Mark Carney being the goaltender for the University of Oxford Blues from 1992 through 1995, from the age of 27 to 30, but he's the only player on the roster. So Mark Carney was playing college hockey in his late 20s? That seems strange. And even stranger is who would have specifically updated the database just to include one player. And there were no further entries until 2008 when the Oxford Blues had a full roster. Are we sure this is the same kid from Fort Smith? Or did someone hit him over the head with a boat oar and assume his identity? During the Liberal leadership debate, Mark Carney claimed he helped Paul Martin balance the budget.
Well, it was my privilege to work with Paul Martin when he balanced the books and kept the books balanced. And one of the lessons of that is the need for government to continue to focus on how effectively it is spending precious taxpayers' dollars.
But Paul Martin presented his first budget in 1995. In 1995, Mark Carney was still playing minor hockey at Oxford University. Not only that, 1995 is the year he completed his doctoral thesis with Oxford University. You know, that thesis that is now subject to allegations of plagiarism? So are we to believe that a goaltender at Oxford University who was busy writing a lengthy thesis also helped a Canadian finance minister balance the books from the other side of the ocean? According to Mark Carney's own resume, he didn't work for the Canadian government until 2003 when Paul Martin was the Prime Minister. Mark Carney was Justin Trudeau's economic advisor from 2020 through 2024. This was a time when the federal government spent $600 billion and still can't account for it. You see, the thing about Mark Carney is when something goes wrong, he distances himself from it. But when something goes right and he's only peripherally involved, he takes all the credit. Like how he's bragged about being the person who saved Canada during the 2008 financial crisis. Really? His job at the time was to guide monetary policy as the governor of the Bank of Canada, while Stephen Harper and Jim Flaherty were responsible for economic and fiscal policy. What does a central banker actually do? Well, they raise interest rates when inflation goes up, and they drop interest rates when inflation goes down. And this was done while elected representatives held his hand. Don't take it from me, Stephen Harper himself takes offense to Mark Carney's claim.
And by the way, I say that as the guy who actually did lead Canada through the global financial crisis. I hear there's someone else claiming it was him. It was, of course, our government, the late, great Jim Flaherty, and our Conservative team who were responsible for the day-to-day macroeconomic management during that challenging time. I am the only person who can say that both of the men running to be Prime Minister once worked for me. And in that regard, my choice, without hesitation, without equivocation, without a shadow of a doubt, is Pierre Poilievre.
And as you heard there, Stephen Harper endorsed Pierre Poilievre. Now obviously Harper is partisan, and it could be why he endorsed Pierre, but who other than the Liberals have endorsed Mark Carney? And no, actors don't matter because they are a lower life form than politicians. Former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom Liz Truss has nothing nice to say about Mark Carney's eventual role as the Governor of the Bank of England. Watch this clip courtesy of the Counter Signal.
Just wanting to get your thoughts on Mark Carney and your relationship with him while you were Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and any advice you have to Canadians who think he might make a good Prime Minister.
Well, Mark Carney was Governor of the Bank of England, and under his tenure, too much money was printed, which did damage to the British economy and put our economy off track. He, at the last election, endorsed Rachel Reeves' economic policy. She's now become Chancellor. It's been a disaster for Britain. The country is heading for bankruptcy. So I would strongly recommend not backing Mark Carney or his policies on net zero, which have been disastrous for Britain and would be disastrous for Canada.
Do you trust his judgment overall, outside of ideological considerations?
Well, I believe that he made major mistakes in the management of the Bank of England. He has pushed net zero, which has been a disaster, not just for the UK, but for many countries across the world.
Thanks for your time, Prime Minister. I appreciate it.
Pierre Poilievre has been endorsed by labour unions such as the Piping Trades Union, United Association Local 67, LiUNA International, and the International Brotherhood of Boilermakers, who have never endorsed a Conservative candidate before. Pierre has also received endorsements from the Peel Regional Police Association, the Durham Regional Police Association, and the Barrie Police Association. And not only that, on the weekend, a group of more than 30 Canadian business leaders took out an ad to endorse Pierre Poilievre. This included the former CEO of Scotiabank, the former chairman and CEO of RBC Dominion Securities, and the chairman and CEO of Fairfax Financial. These are people that run in the same circles as Mark Carney and would know him best. Who would have thought that no pipelines and more Chinese communism would be unpopular to Canadians? Where are Mark Carney's endorsements? Well, he did receive one from a lady who yelled, "Lead us, Big Daddy."
But
There is no evidence that Mark Carney knows what he's doing. His entire campaign is centered around, "Trust me, bro."
Now, unlike Pierre Poilievre, I've actually worked in the private sector. I know how the world works.
If he knows how the world works, why did all the Canadian banks abandon his Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero group right after he began his Liberal leadership campaign? This is not exactly a glowing endorsement of his incoming fiscal policy. Mark Carney also said he knows how to deal with Trump.
And I've dealt with Trump in the past. He respects strength. He respects strength. Like a lot of bullies, he respects strength.
Really? Because after Mark Carney won the Liberal leadership race, Donald Trump imposed steel and aluminum tariffs on Canadian imports, as well as tariffs on vehicles and parts not USMCA compliant. And Canada is the only country to join China in imposing retaliatory tariffs on the United States. Do you know who has the least confidence in his ability to lead the country? Mark Carney himself. Listen to what he had to say to Rebel News a few years ago in Davos.
What advice would you have for the youngster?
Going to a central banker for political advice is never a good idea.
Mark Carney has had the advantage of playing Prime Minister for 30 days. How has he performed? Canada lost 33,000 jobs in March, the biggest job loss since the beginning of 2022. He's taken 3 breaks from campaigning, and he failed to fire Paul Chang and the 2 Liberal operatives who planted fake MAGA buttons at a Conservative conference in Ottawa. He has also failed to publicly address China's 100% levy on Canadian canola oil, which is devastating the industry in Saskatchewan, as well as a 25% duty on seafood and pork from Canada, which has angered fishermen in the Maritimes. Mark Carney claims he's done more in 9 days than Pierre Poilievre has done in 20 years in government.
So, in just 9 days, in government, we did more than Pierre Poilievre has imagined in all his decades.
The only beneficial things he did was reduce the carbon tax and cancel the 66% capital gains inclusion rate increase. And both of those things that he claimed he did was actually the work of Pierre Poilievre's focus on those issues. And right after Mark Carney's dubious claims about his performance, watch as he's interrupted by a heckler. This goes on for quite a while, so be patient, but it shows how awkward and ineffectual he is as a leader.
So then we began our campaign on day one. On day one. On day one. Thank you. On day one. On day one. You focus on, you know, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, on day one, we announced a middle-class tax cut. Thank you. Thank you. All right. On a d'énergie ici. Aslan. Let's see. Thank you. I don't think so. Okay, so middle class tax cut, $825 per year for your family. Then the world is a more dangerous and divided place. So what we did 2 weeks ago was to release a clear plan. The point has been made. We released our plan. I'd like to make a few points.
It's obvious Mark Carney's only talent is to accumulate jobs. But a resume isn't a plan. It's a puff piece of things you did, written by you. And that will be it for me. If you like what you heard, please have a look at my podcast playlist. There are several episodes which include the plagiarism allegations and the Paul Chang fiasco. Don't forget to like and comment on this video. I'll talk to you again soon.